So how do you build the perfect place for a startup to grow? It's on the minds of a lot of incubators and accelerators these days. Today we sit down with Dr. Leo Martinez, a venture consultant at the XPRENEURS Incubator. He talks to us about recent innovations that they've created to help their startups thrive, and how the Munich Urban Colab has connected them to a network that most startups could only dream of. Let's go take a look.
Ready?
Steady.
Go. Okay, so today we have Leo Martinez, Dr. Leo Martinez of UnternehmerTUM. Maybe you just want to introduce yourself, give us a little quick background about who you are, where you come from, and how you wound up here.
Yes, absolutely. So yeah, Leo Martinez, as you mentioned, I am originally from Mexico. I studied in the UK, did my research career there, and then I was invited by the Technical University of Munich to join a research project as a fellow researcher. And I did that for 1.5 years, and then I moved into the entrepreneurship world. So I had some ideas and decided to start my own company back in the day in Munich when the whole of UnternehmerTUM was growing. That's already 10 years ago. So I jumped into the startup ecosystem. I did that for a couple of years. Then we licensed the technology out, and I found myself in a privileged position in which I could choose what to do next. So I came back to the community. So I got sort of recycled into the ecosystem of UnternehmerTUM. And yeah, here I am now as a venture consultant of the XPRENEURS Incubator, part of UnternehmerTUM, helping the startups with the hurdles they go through, as I've been through before in the past. And yeah, happy to be here helping them.
Yeah, and how closely are you working with the startups? Like, do you have contact with them on a daily basis? What does your work on a day-to-day basis look like?
Yes, yeah, I mean, one-to-one. So they are sitting here in the incubator. We are also in this magical place where everybody comes together, and they have a free desk space here, so they can sit here, work from here, and we offer them one-to-one coaching sessions. So they can book sessions with me to polish their pitch deck, to talk about any hurdles they are facing at the moment, like how do I open a bank account in the US? How do I expand here and there? How do I set up a CRM? How do I polish my sales pipeline? So these are the things we keep teaching them about, they keep hearing about in the workshops, and we are here for them. So they can come and knock and we can help them. But of course we have a structured program and curriculum which we offer them. We have every 3 months a new batch, and we as venture consultants, there are 4 people with that role within the incubator. We get assigned teams to coach them, and we have regular meetings with them every 2 or 1 week.
And are you assigned teams that kind of match with your skill set, with your expertise?
Yes, absolutely. So I come from the health sciences and have an engineering background, so I usually tend to get teams towards engineering or projects that require this sort of innovation towards health or engineering, photonics, those kind of things. We have also experience in the team with food and agri-tech, so they get assigned to another consultant into team building as well. So we have all the set of skills, and basically everyone at UnternehmerTUM has that little skill set around startups, innovation, and so we are all able to help. Yeah.
That's interesting stuff. A bit of an odd question. Does anyone ever go through the program twice?
There have been cases, yes, but not with the same idea and same startup. So we have founders that have come through the program with an idea with a startup, and later on they pivot, they come up with a great new idea, so they go through the whole funnel again. So we also try to encourage entrepreneurs to stay around the ecosystem. So we have different funnels for all different types of talent. So we like to retain the entrepreneurial talent and skills around, and yeah, they come back sometimes.
Yeah. And how long have you been at the collabs now?
At the collab, I think it's going to be almost 2 years since I joined, and we started from here, from the collab. The building is pretty new.
Yeah.
The headquarters is in Garching. Probably you visit
there
as well. Yeah. And that's where it all started. But now we have this campus together with the city of Munich, which opens up new possibilities. And it's easier to come here than to Garching for some of the startups. Some of them work from there because the labs are there, the research professors are there. So we have now those 2 options.
Yeah, it's great having something this close to the center of the city. And thank you, by the way, for the lovely tour that you just gave me. That was overly educational. I didn't realize there was so much happening here at the collabs and all the different partners. I'm wondering if I can ask you the impossible to give us a little bit of an overview of what you just told me, but kind of the condensed version. So what does collabs do? Why is it co?
Yeah, great question. So it's the Munich Urban Colab. So it's an initiative, it's a public-private partnership between the city of Munich and UnternehmerTUM. So the idea is to bring not only entities from the city of Munich, local organizations, but also corporate partners, the startup ecosystem, the innovators, and us as enablers, UnternehmerTUM, to come together. So it's an open space, as you saw in the tour. There are offices with tenants. There are open desks that you as a person in the ecosystem can come and rent in a way. And also our startups get access to this space. So it's a matter of bringing everyone together to make innovation happen, to make those networking meetings happening. Yeah.
Now, with that in mind, because you have so many different types of organizations under one roof, why would I, as a startup, choose this place to work, choose this co-working space as opposed to another one, a more classical co-working space? It's just a collection of startups with maybe some connections to investors. What is the real big selling feature of the collabs?
Right. Okay. So maybe I have to clarify that the startups that are sitting here is because they are part of one of our programs. So they apply to be part of our programs. They have to go through a rigorous selection process, and now they're part of the XPRENEURS Incubator. They could also be part of Tech Founders. And basically that's what we offer, is one of our unique selling points, access to the network. So they get to sit here, they get to work with their peers. Of course, for graduates, startups from the previous batch, they still want to stick around. There is a possibility to go to the front desk, ask for an office space or a desk. It's kind of full at the moment, but there is also a possibility to come here. And that's the advantage. You are here in the middle of the entrepreneurship bubbling fire, you may. So everything is happening here. From here, great unicorns derive, as you saw on our board outside. So this is where the magic happens. So if you want to be part of it, then come close to it.
Yeah. Now, aside from the obvious, I saw that there are a lot of very large corporate partnerships here.
Yes.
So I think I saw SAP and Infineon. Like, these are really big players in their space. And what is the main advantage for a startup of having those partnerships here at the collabs? What does that look like when they're interacting?
So it's mostly on like a coffee talk or in the corridors. So it's important, I think, for the corporates to be aware what's happening in the ecosystem, but it's also important for the startups to see what the corporates can do and deliver towards the ecosystem. For example, innovation programs or the problems they are facing. Sometimes there is a presentation downstairs about what the SAP is doing in the AI. So the startups can go there and see, okay, maybe there is something we can offer a solution for it. There is a startups mingle hour where they can go and talk to the SAP personalities or Siemens or any other of our tenants, the MVG downstairs, and then you get to learn what they're doing. They get to learn what you're doing, and at some point there's a spark of, okay, what about this? Have you thought about that? And at the end, talent communicates the ideas, and then things happen.
Yeah, having access to those networks, because you're right. Like, there's a very big difference from just trying to connect on LinkedIn to having somebody in the building who you can go and ask questions of.
Yeah, sounds strange after all those years of COVID, but actually live interactions are actually sometimes key to make these relationships stronger, to make the flow of ideas faster, and to make things happen.
Yeah, I totally understand that, being someone who works from home a lot. Let's talk about XPRENEURS a little bit more.
Yes.
So first, give us the 1 or 2 sentence summary of what the program is and what the goal of the XPRENEURS is.
Absolutely. So XPRENEURS is the startup incubator from UnternehmerTUM. Okay. It's a 3-month program with an established curriculum of workshops tackling things such as sales, product market fit, business models, HR, team building, leadership, etc. So the true power of XPRENEURS is the network. So we have a network of 300 plus mentors with different skills, experienced, seasoned entrepreneurs, also C-level executives that offer their support to the startups.
Yeah.
So that's at the core, in one sentence, what we do at XPRENEURS. Yet we also host networking events and make the startups interact with themselves, with the alumni teams, and yeah, that's what we do.
What do you hope, what stage should a startup be at when it leaves the XPRENEURS program?
Yes, so they come to the XPRENEURS usually at the MVP level. They're ready to hit the market, and we help them with 3 core things, which we hope by the end of the program they have mastered. One of them is polish their business model. So we help them with how to best get advice from our experts and network on how to get their business model really effective and working. Yeah. Second, to gain or learn how to gain customers faster so that they're ready to go out there, sell their product, and transfer that USP into real value. And third, and probably the most important one, is to raise capital. So we help them to get investor ready. We spend a lot of time with them, helping them with the polished business model, with the polished sales strategy to get out there and raise capital. So our hope is like within the 3 months of the XPRENEURS program, they are ready to fundraise and they close their next investment round. Doesn't usually happen within the 3 months or at the end of the 3 months, but within 6 months to 1 year, our startups are out there raising large sums of capital. Yeah. So only last year we broke the 1 billion euro mark fundraised by our teams, becoming a unicorn incubator. So that means the formula works. We're doing the right thing. We are now at 1.3 billion, and the year is only starting. So we can't wait to see what happens at the end of the year. So this is how we measure whether our 3 promises are being fulfilled.
Yeah. So now you've been here for about 2 years, you said, which means you've been through, what, about 8 batches, 9 batches, something like that?
6.
6 batches, okay. How much have you seen change since you've been here in the program and in the types of startups? Because a lot has changed in the world in the last 2 years. We've exited the COVID emergency, and life is sort of back to normal.
Yes.
And that's brought a lot of changes in economy, startups, business models.
Yes.
What kind of changes have you seen?
Yes. So one of the biggest changes is that we grew in the number of startups we get. So we are now running specific tracks. So we have one that is called the X Lab track. So we are supporting teams that are more coming out of the lab. It's more for PhDs, for researchers, professors that want to take the leap into entrepreneurship. So they need a little bit more time. They need a little bit more coaching on what it means to be an entrepreneur, how to leave that comfort zone of I get grants, I get the lab, and come welcome them into the entrepreneurial world. So we have that track. And why do we have that track? Because I mean, it's not a secret that there is some sort of slowdown, and it's hard to get investment. It's a little bit slow, the whole fundraising process. And I think what we observe from the investors is they're betting onto like longer term solutions rather than immediate traction, because there is some kind of recession going on. I don't know, you probably know more about what's happening in the current affairs, but we feel it that the bet is now more into the long-term shot, something that will be available in 3, 5, even 10 years. And that's what we see now in the incubator, the types of applications, the startups that get funded. That's what we are seeing. We also have the build environment track, everything about construction, digital twins, sustainable building sustainability is becoming a big topic, impact. So this is sort of the trend, and we go with the trend. So the startups that we receive now fulfill sort of those criteria a little more.
So you have these 2 tracks now.
Yes.
Which is very interesting. When was the decision made to break that up? Was that just because you're having so many people apply, so you're making more room, and now you're getting more specific about the startups? So, why break it up into groups?
That's a great question, because as I mentioned in the tour, we grow organically, filling the gaps. So we identify that there is a gap to help these researchers that are not students, they are not learning this new technology. They've already been through the journey, but they need to, or we want them to come into the entrepreneurial world. So we identify that gap. So now we're providing that offer for them.
Yeah.
That was very organic. For the build environment teams, there is a corporate partner that say, okay, it's great, but we want to see more of these teams, and we're happy to support for you to find them and incubate them together with us.
Yeah.
We found that gap. We're bringing them together. We also run together with the Europe through the EIT, these European initiatives, the incubator for urban mobility, sustainable city logistics. We also run the incubator for the food and agri-tech teams. So we also have teams from those areas because we are filling that gap.
Right.
So if the market evolved into needing, for example, a fashion tech incubator, a sports tech incubator, we are doing it right. So we probably do it for that market as well.
Right. And then with each track, you can offer more specific help
Yes.
to that particular type of startup.
Absolutely.
So that they're getting more tailored help for what they need,
Yes.
rather than just a generalized accelerator approach.
Exactly. So that's another of our selling points. We really make the program personalized. We have the standard workshops that anybody can attend because they want to learn about marketing, about branding, about business model, about financial, unit economics, you name it.
Yeah.
But the point of having this one-to-one coaching and interaction is to find the needs specifically for the startup at the stage they are in, and provide them or guide them through the program so that they get the most out of it personalized. That's correct.
Sure. So are there more of these tracks already planned, or is this, you've got the first couple ones, you're going to make sure that they're executing well, and then you'll start to take a look around a little more?
Yeah, exactly. So there are some ideas in the making. Once one comes up, we will announce it. But yeah, it's not that we are in the looking. We're in the looking, for growing the incubation program. Yes, but it's more about filling those gaps and attending the demand of the ecosystem.
To flip that, what are some of the problems now that you see at XPRENEURS that you guys, like not at XPRENEURS itself, what are some of the problems for startups that XPRENEURS needs to start fixing for them in the future, or helping them with in the future? So you've got more tailored, that's good, more customized. But what are some of the other challenges that you're seeing a lot with startups nowadays that XPRENEURS is going to try and help with?
Yes, so I mean, it's a personal opinion, but I think we have a little gap in the capital offerings from business angels. So for startups that are, not having a very solid VC case yet, but they are still getting there. And of course, we help them as much as we can, but they still need some time. And I think filling that gap and that time, it's requires some sort of support at the business angel level, those kind of tickets. And there are business angels in the ecosystem. Yes, we have them at XPRENEURS. We've been growing that network for the last 2 years, but I think it can be a little better. If you look at, I mean, it's also the ecosystem, right? If you look at, for example, what happens in the US, there are angels and they just come in and they sign a deal and put the cash in the bank account within the week.
Wouldn't that be lovely?
Yeah, but here is a little slower, but we're working towards making it better by attracting angels to the network and by attracting really good startups that, are at that point in time in which they can convince one of our angels in the ecosystem.
Do you think that's something that the Munich startup ecosystem and the German ecosystem more generally needs to work on from the angel side, of bringing more people in as angel investors, educating them more on what it means to be an angel investor? Do you see this as something of an issue, or are there lots of angel investors, you just need to make the connections?
Yes, that's right. I think it's all about the connections and helping everyone to take that leap. There is a risk aversion, and I think our startups are demonstrating that, taking that risk is worth it. So now we want to see it also from the business angel side. Nevertheless, there have been really successful stories of angels investing in the teams coming out of the ecosystem, but I wish there were more.
Okay, last question for you then. Going into the future, what is it that you're excited about with XPRENEURS and collabs? What's something that we should really keep our eye on?
Yeah, so I think we are experiencing or seeing an energy transition happening in front of our noses, and sooner or later it's going to hit us. So transition to new sources of energy, renewables, needs not only the idea for what the source is, but also the whole infrastructure around it, right? How do you build it? How do you quantify it? How do you put all the parties together in order to bring these technologies to life? And this is something we're working on at the moment. It might take 5-10 years, but I'm really excited to see in 5-10 years that what we are betting on right now is going to be the future.
That does sound exciting. Challenging,
yeah,
but
also
exciting.
Challenging.
Then, Leo, thanks so much for sitting with us today, and thank you so much for the tour, and we'll certainly be watching into the future.
Absolutely. You're welcome.
Thanks everybody for listening and watching. There will be more from UnternehmerTUM into the future, so keep watching our channels, subscribe, follow, and we'll see you in the ring.